Hello, everybody. We are going to wait a minute or so to let people start filing in. We have a lot of people signed up today. All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started here. I'll just kind of start with the intro while people are coming in. So good afternoon. My name is Amanda Jarvis, and I'm with the Virginia SBDC Network. For those of you that are not familiar with our organization, the Virginia Small Business Development Center is a partnership program between the U.S. Small Business Administration, George Mason University, and local host institutions throughout Virginia. With 27 locations across the Commonwealth, we provide training and technical assistance to small businesses in their local communities. Our one-on-one consulting services are available at no charge. In today's webinar is presented by the Virginia Small Business Development Center Network. Be sure to check out our next, we're gonna have a couple other digital webinars coming up. One on the 23rd on how to generate leads using digital marketing tools, and one on the 28th, another one with Cameron today, success through e-commerce. So we're recording today's presentation and it will be posted on our website, virginiasbdc.org. Due to the large number of participants, everyone's microphone is muted, but if you have questions during the presentation, you can type those into the Q&A box. We've also enabled the live transcript function, which you can show or hide via your meeting controls. And now it is my pleasure to introduce you to our presenter for today's session, Cameron Nelson, our Chief Digital Advisor here at the Virginia SBDC and the Central Virginia SBDC. Mr. Nelson has over 18 years of experience in technology and as a senior tech consultant in Silicon Valley, helping Fortune 500 companies improve their digital marketing and e-commerce. At the same time, he founded several tech companies, including a SaaS website for tree preservation and a blockchain platform for nonprofits. Cameron is accomplished in language, culture, and has an MBA and MA, and believes new technology products have the ability to help shape our world for the better. Please join me in welcoming our presenter for today, Cameron Nelson.
Thanks for the introduction, and hello everybody. Welcome to How to Grow Your Business with Digital Marketing. I'm excited to present this information to you today. I'm going to keep this presentation at a fairly high level because I know everybody here has a different understanding of digital marketing and their needs. At the end of the presentation, there'll be some time for questions and answers, probably 15 or 20 minutes. So I encourage you to save your questions until then, and hopefully I can get to them. If you have more in-depth questions or things I'm not able to answer today, feel free to email me directly. I'm happy to have a one-on-one consultation with anybody to talk about their digital marketing, e-commerce, or website needs. So let's jump right into it. So there's a lot of reasons why you want to be focused on digital marketing and looking at that as a way to grow your business. These are the top 5 reasons why you're going to want to look at digital marketing as a way to grow your business online. And the main thing here is to remember that digital marketing creates growth, whether it's growth of your customer base, growth of your product sales, driving your revenue, and increasing your profits. You can increase all of those factors with digital marketing. So these are 5 ways that it works. First way is you get a broad geographical reach. You know, when you post an ad online, people can see that no matter where they are. You can limit the reach of your ads geographically if you wish to certain zip codes, cities, or states, or countries. But whichever approach you want to take, a broad reach or narrow targeted reach, it's very easy to do with digital marketing. Every ad platform gives you those abilities. Facebook ads, Google ads are 2 of the biggest, and they make it very easy to target your ads geographically. Second reason is it's very cost effective. You know, for each dollar spent, you get a lot more information about your customers, and customers are able to click on your ad to contact you. And this is in contrast to a newspaper ad or even a television ad where they don't have an immediate way to buy that product and to follow up. but they can with digital marketing. Third is quantifiable results. Every digital marketing platform like Facebook and Google and others, they allow you to track your data and track your analytics. So you can see if you have 2 or 3 ads running, you can tell which ones are working the best, which one is giving you the best return on investment for your dollar spent. This is really powerful, and it's one of the best tools that digital marketers can and should be using. You can track everything from an email open rate to a visit to your website to a purchase. It depends on what you need to be tracking, and that's something that is part of your online marketing strategy, which we'll talk more about. Number 4 is that digital marketing gives you easier personalization because, we've all heard of how Facebook and Google, they gather data on customers. By doing this, they can target your ad to customers who have that interest or that need, whereas any kind of traditional marketing can't do that. So with all this analytic information available to digital marketers, this allows you to make smart decisions. And 5th is easy conversion. So like I hinted at, your ad is usually a call to action, which you want the customer to take. So let's just say you're selling shoes, that's your business. Maybe you have a sale on shoes that you're trying to move out of your warehouse. The action you want people to take with your ad that says shoe sale is to click on that link and to go to your sale page and buy a pair of shoes. So they can move right into the sales process called the sales funnel right away, unlike any other kind of marketing where they might just read about it and then they need to take extra steps and wait until purchase later. So now that we've talked about the 5 most important reasons why you should be looking at digital marketing, these are the 4 biggest areas that I'm going to dive into and explain in more detail where you can be most effective with your digital marketing. Some of these terms you might have heard of, others you might be a little vague on what they exactly mean. So we're going to go over all those details now. The first is social media and email marketing. This primarily helps you to increase your brand awareness and personalize outbound marketing messaging. So outbound marketing, just for those not familiar with the terms inbound and outbound, outbound is if you send an email to 1,000 people, you are reaching out to them about your business and your product. That's a common form of outbound marketing. Inbound marketing is if they see your ad and click on it. They're going to come to you. Or if they read a blog posted by an influencer in your industry and that blog links to your website, that is inbound traffic to you. So inbound marketing. The second area to be aware of are paid ads and SEO, which means search engine optimization. So posting ads on those major networks like I talked about and making your web pages attractive to search engines. This is an art and a science, and I'm going to tell you more about how they work together to get your search engine optimization working and optimize your website. This will increase your search ranking in the results and enable more people to find you through searches, which is another form of inbound marketing. Third is affiliate marketing. This is when third-party publishers or influencers, like that person in the example who wrote a blog post, they generate traffic and leads that go to your website and help sell your products and services. And fourth, analytics. This really helps you wrap it all up. The theme in this presentation, if there's nothing else you take away, is that data is important. Analytics is your doorway to access that data. So how you use your analytics to measure your success and improve your performance is a key factor in, if you're going to be successful with your digital marketing strategy. So number 1, social media marketing. Like I said, there's 3 main things this helps you with. Increase your brand awareness, it gives you useful metrics, and it helps you to build trust and dialogue with your customers and potential future customers. So increasing brand awareness, social media marketing can increase your website traffic and brand awareness because it engages people with discussion. One of the most powerful tools big companies use is to look at tweets about them and reply. So you'll notice if you look at tweets about a big company like Pepsi, Coke, Ford, something like that, there are discussions going on between the consumer and marketers at that company. And even if you're a small company, it's an important way to get feedback and listen to what's being said about your products. So because it has this audience participation, it's a popular way of getting attention for businesses either large or small. Secondly, social media marketing gives you these engagement metrics, which are useful in helping you look at your data to understand if you're reaching your audience. So this could mean if you make a post and it has 1,000 views and 5 of those 1,000 clicked on a link that go to your website, that's a very low conversion rate, or the rate of people who took the next step to click on the link. And you might want to understand why that was so low. Maybe the images, people didn't understand them, or the text you used wasn't very descriptive, and it didn't get people to take that next step. So you get those metrics. And third, brands can use the social media marketing to start dialogue with their audience. Because selling online, it's not usually a one-step process. In online marketing, there's what's called the sales funnel, which you'll hear me say a couple of times today. And that means that there's multiple steps and stages usually for an online purchase, for somebody to see your company for the first time, see your product, to make that decision to buy. So by building trust and dialogue, you start on that process, kind of that customer journey. And you don't need to encourage them to buy your product right away, but you provide content that they like, and eventually the sales will follow. So the most popular platforms for social media marketing are these 4 down here at the bottom: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, which is owned by Google. So Facebook and Google are the 2 kind of giants in the online marketing world, which I'm going to talk about a lot. So Facebook owns Instagram, Google owns YouTube, Twitter is an independent company. So it's just helpful to understand how these relationships work when you go to spend your ad dollars. The next important step here is email marketing. This is a very popular form of outbound marketing. I'm not going to go into what email marketing is a description, because we've all seen it. We've all received email marketing messages, but I'm going to offer you a list of do's and don'ts, which you might not already be aware of. So with email marketing, you do want to individualize the content in the body and the subject of the email. So instead of saying, "Hi, comma, please check out our sale," and have it a generic email that goes out to 1,000 people, with using a modern email marketing system, you can say, "Hi, John, comma, we noticed you looked at blue shoes on our website, comma, there's a sale right now. Click this link to learn more." You're customizing the salutation and the body of the email. Now, this can be automated 99% of the time, but some companies don't take the time to do it, but it's very important to individualize that. Next, you want to state clearly what kind of emails the subscriber will get if they're going to sign up for your newsletter or your emails on your website. You might want to say once a week, once a month. Just give them some information about what those emails will contain. Are they tips and tricks, or are they just sales? People, if they know that, are more likely to sign up for your newsletter. You always need to offer a clear unsubscribe option. You want to integrate both transactional emails, which is buy a product, and promotional emails, which is, we have a sale or something that we think you should be excited about. Come look at this. And you want your prospects to see your campaign as a value service, not just a promotional tool. So again, offering tips and tricks, insider news, anything proprietary that is valuable. You want to offer that in your emails. It can be even better if you incorporate other techniques like marketing automation into your email campaigns. So this could be a way to segment. If you have 1,000 people on an email list, and let's go back to the shoe example. Let's just say you sell men's shoes and women's shoes. Well, you might just want to send an email when you have a new men's shoe style to the men and not to the women. That might not necessarily make sense in your particular business. You might say, "Oh, the women buy the shoes for the men," in which case you would tell them too. But you can segment your audience based on their likes and interests. This way you can send more customized and personal emails. So now let's talk about some of the don'ts. You don't want an overhyped subject line in your email. So capital letters, exclamation points, right? Keep it standard English, nothing crazy. People just ignore that now. And in fact, it gets caught in spam filters more often than not. So just avoid those. The email address should be from a real name, not just no reply. So, contact@yourbusiness.com, that kind of thing. not a no reply email address. Because again, having a no reply email address is kind of turning down a way to get customer feedback. You want them to be able to email you and ask questions, especially if you're a small to mid-sized business. You don't have an email that offers no value. Don't have too many call to actions. The most effective emails have one call to action. So there's a sale, click this link. There's a blog post about a topic you're interested in that we just published, but why don't you go read it? One specific call to action with a button or a link that goes to that website. Don't have an email that's too long. Usually people won't read more than a paragraph or two in an email. So if it's longer than that, you need to direct them to an external website they can click on and go there. Again, the email list is not segmented. So, you might send people irrelevant emails if you don't use that tip of segmenting your emails. Not optimizing for mobile is a big don't. Over 50% of people, it's up to about 65% in the latest surveys, open the emails on a mobile device. So you need to make sure you test emails for mobile compatibility. Make sure your images don't go off the side of the screen or anything funny is going on. So you can always send them to yourself first to test. Sending emails at the wrong time or sending too many emails is a big don't. This very much depends on your industry and who your target customers are. Some might only want a quarterly email about something happening at your company. Other industries might benefit from a weekly email. So just understanding that. You can learn about that from seeing, when you send emails, what's the open rate versus, the email before. So emails that have a higher open rate and click-through rate, somebody clicking on your call to action, you're doing something right if that's going up. So this is something to experiment with. And lastly, ignoring analytics. Again, so analytics is really important. When you send 1,000 emails out, you're going to get all sorts of data. How many people read it? You can tell that. How many people read to the end of the email? You can tell that. You can also tell how many people clicked on the link and for your call to action. And sometimes you can tell other things. You can tell what computer they're using. Is it mobile? Is it laptop? Is it desktop? That kind of thing. So analytics are very important, and you get a lot of that through your email marketing. Next up is paid ads, also called pay-per-click, abbreviated PPC. This is what it means to post an ad on one of the ad networks like Facebook, Google, or Twitter, and you pay every time somebody clicks on it. So the largest ad networks are Google, Microsoft, YouTube, which is owned by Google, Facebook, and Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Pinterest. Now, many companies in Virginia who I meet with prefer to market on one or two of these, but not all of them. It's just overwhelming if you're a small business to try to create an ad on all these and measure those metrics and keep on top of it. So consider creating an ad on one or more of these. But it's important to understand, what does a pay-per-click ad even mean? Well, it means that there's an ad algorithm or a program that Google or Microsoft or Facebook have created that prioritize your ad based on several factors. And by prioritizing it, I mean, if it gets a high rank, then it will be shown to somebody. If it gets a low rank, it won't be. So the ad quality goes into the algorithm. The ad quality means, are you using all bold letters, too many exclamation points, right? That kind of thing lowers the quality. Do you have typos and spelling mistakes? That lowers the quality. Do you have short, concise sentences? That increases the quality. So there's a lot of things that go into the quality of the ad, which are generally in the text that you use. The next factor the algorithm looks at is the keyword relevance. So if somebody types in blue men's shoes into Google and your ad has those words, maybe it has men's twice and shoes twice and blue once, that's a pretty high keyword relevance. So it's going to give you a big score in that area and be more likely to show your ad to that person. The third factor is the landing page quality. So your ad is going to have a link to a certain page on your website. Again, maybe let's say you have a sale on the men's blue shoes. If that page has problems, if it's not mobile optimized, maybe it has images that are very large in size and megabyte size and will take forever to download, Google knows all that, and they will give you a low score if that landing page is a poor landing page for many reasons. And finally, the bid amount. The bid amount is how much you're willing to pay Google every time somebody clicks on your ad. By default, they give you a range. It's usually 40 to 75 cents per click that they think you're going to pay them. But you can increase that if you want your ads to show up more frequently. So you might say, no, I'll pay $1 to $1.50 every time somebody clicks on my Google ad. And so you can increase your bid amount, and then you will pay more, but you'll also get a higher chance to show up in a search result. So these are the main factors to consider when running paid ads. So just so you have that ground understanding, it's very useful as you develop your ad strategy. Another very important factor that I get asked about a lot is the search engine optimization. So what this means is that your organic search result, or the times your website shows up in a regular search, not with a paid ad, on Google or on Facebook or on Bing or any search engine, those are called the organic search results. You get a better chance of showing up in the organic search results if your search engine optimization factors give you a high ranking, and they all rank based on a number scale. So how do you get a high rank? Well, the most important elements are these four right here. The first off is, and they're not in order, they're all weighed equally more or less. So the first one is the quality of the content. Again, it's the same things. Do you have proper spelling? Do you have good grammar? Do you have the right up-to-date programming language so you're compatible with all the modern browsers? Google scans every website on the internet, so they know if you're breaking rules or if you're following rules, and if your content has errors or not. So that's the quality of the content. The second factor that goes into your SEO is the level of user engagement. So it's very interesting, you know, Google knows if a user looked at a website for 3 seconds and left, or if that user looked at that page for 5 minutes and then clicked on a link to go somewhere else on the website. The longer users stay on a site and the more interaction they have with links on the site increases that user engagement. And Google and the other search engines say, oh, okay, this website is more valuable. People are staying on it longer, so we're going to give it higher rankings over time. So obviously, number two, it takes a while. You have to build it up. And also, if you have poor engagement, it'll slowly decrease your rank over time as well. Usually it takes, this is over a period of several months. Number three, is it mobile friendly? This is probably the easiest one to knock out because any competent website developer or any modern website template on WordPress is probably going to be mobile friendly just right off the bat. And that's really important because any website that's not mobile friendly really gets penalized nowadays, because most people are looking at these things on a mobile device. And fourth, the number and the quality of inbound links. So we talked a little bit about inbound versus outbound marketing. Inbound links would be other websites that link to yours. So we'll talk about affiliate marketing in a minute, but that's a great example where you might have an influencer on YouTube who rates and reviews products like the ones you sell. If they put a YouTube video up and they say product link in the description, which I'm sure a lot of us have seen, if that link goes to your website, that's a high quality inbound link. And that can really increase your SEO for Google above and beyond people clicking on it in the YouTube description panel, but it'll increase your website search results for any regular searches in Google as well. So everything's really tied together in online marketing now. You can see how these things usually work in tandem. So next is affiliate marketing. This is a very important strategy that's kind of underutilized by a lot of small businesses just because they're not quite sure what it means and how to go about getting it started. So it's a strategy where your company will compensate an affiliate partner for any business created. So again, the YouTube example, somebody rates, reviews a product on YouTube, leaves the link in the description. They're an affiliate helping to sell that product, and they're probably getting paid for it. So by using affiliate marketing, your company gets access to influencers on social media, creative people, and it helps to sell their products, especially if you're launching a new product or a new company and you want to get that word out quickly. Affiliate marketing can be some of the most effective way to spend a marketing budget. And they can be celebrities, influencers, or any trusted voice in the industry that you're selling into. And because you're probably an expert on your industry, who these people are is something that you should probably already be somewhat aware of, and you can always do research into finding out more influencers in your area if you're not sure who they are. So some of the pros are you can get quick access to a broad market. So instead of starting a Facebook page or a Twitter page, with 2 followers, and then a week later you have 4 followers, and then a month later you might have 15. It's a very slow process to build a following online nowadays. But using an influencer, if they have 10 or 50,000 followers, you're going to get immediate access to their whole market. You get more qualified leads. So because the influencers you're going to target those that are already selling the type of product or services, or that are already influencers in the area of the targeted services you're selling. The people who watch their content are already going to be qualified leads to you. They're going to already be interested in your product. And finally, it's a very cost-effective way to advertise. Some of the cons are that it can be subject to fraud in several different ways. An influencer could receive payment up front for doing something that they don't do. You might send them products to review and they might just keep the product and not review it. There's many ways that the system can be and is abused. So you want to be aware of those. You have less creative control. You don't know what they're going to say about your product. And so in a way that is a risk to you. And lastly is vulnerable to theft. So any kind of samples you send out, if there's an agreement to get it back, you might not get it back. So, Amazon here is a great example of affiliate marketing. It's called Amazon Associates, and it's one of the largest in the world that does this. You've probably seen on a lot of websites, they might say, Amazon's having a great sale on, I don't know, Bluetooth speakers. Here's our top 5 favorite picks. And they probably say on the website, clicking on a link here, we might make money from it. So they're an affiliate. And when you click on the link, Amazon knows what website that comes from and gives that person a percentage of the sale. So this is the affiliate marketing program in action. So everybody from YouTube creators and publishers and bloggers have Amazon products, share them on their website, and receive this compensation. So it's a pretty good tactic if you have a product that could be sold in this type of manner. There's a little bit more information about affiliate marketing that's useful to understand. There's these 3 types of affiliates. Not all affiliate agreements are equal. So the first one is an unattached affiliate. This is the most loosely connected person to your business because they have no connection officially to your product or service. They don't have skills or expertise and don't really serve as an authority. So they're really quite uninvolved, and the lack of attachment to a potential customer, it really absolves them of the duty to recommend or advise. So this would be, just somebody saying, I came across this, maybe you should check it out, right? It's kind of a neutral type of review, but again, that's an affiliate. And if that person has a large following, some of them are probably going to, look at what that person says and end up buying your product. So that's an unattached affiliate. The next level is a related affiliate. So in this case, they have some sort of relationship to your product, to your industry, or your niche. So the affiliate has enough influence to generate traffic in what you're trying to sell, and they have some authority as well. So people trust them when they say, you should buy this. The affiliate really, though, makes no claims about using the product or service. So it's not a full review. It's more like, here's something that I think you'd be interested in trying out, but not a full-blown review or an endorsement. The third level is an involved affiliate, and they have used the product, and this is really a product review type of post or video. Their experiences of using the product is really the advertisement for you, and they serve as a trusted source of information. This is a bit risky for the affiliates because, if they review a product favorably and a bunch of people buy it, end up not liking it, it can hurt their reputation. So this takes a higher level of trust between you and the affiliate, and something that you might build up to after a certain amount of time of working with an influencer. So the next section is about analytics, or how do you tie all of these different things together? The most popular way to gather analytics on a marketing campaign is with Facebook analytics or Google analytics. You might hear of Facebook Pixel, and that is the name Facebook gives their analytics platform. Google is just called Google Analytics. No matter which one you use or both, they give you the same information. And these are 6 metrics or factors that you should really be paying attention to and measuring on a week-to-week or a month-to-month basis to get some sort of idea of how effective your marketing is become. So the first one is the traffic sources. This means, where do your visitors come from? Direct visitors mean that they typed in your website, or they, maybe you handed out a business card, or you sent out an email with a link to your website. These are called direct visitors. They went directly to your website. An organic search visitor is somebody who typed in a search term in Google or Facebook, and they clicked on your link to your website, not your ad, but the organic link that showed up. Those are organic search results. Those are completely free, but the downside is that sometimes they're not exactly targeted to what you're selling. So they might have a lower interest in buying what you're trying to sell. And the third traffic source is referrals. So this could be from your affiliate marketing. So understanding where traffic is coming from is important, because you want to be able to fine-tune your marketing strategy. If your referrals are creating 80% of your visitors on your website and also 80% of your revenue, let's say, you might want to focus more on pushing money into that category for your digital marketing to increase those numbers. If your organic search result is bringing in the most customers, you might not need to worry about your SEO. But if that's really low, then SEO is something that you're going to want to look at and say, do I have a problem on my website that's preventing organic search results from being a larger number? The second important metric are page views, which measure the number of times user loads your web page. And also it'll track which pages are people spend the most time on, and which pages people leave the most frequently without spending any time on. So it's a really useful metric. If the page has high views and it's a product page, but it has low revenue, that means that people are interested in that product but not completing the purchase. And this is a common problem. Sometimes there's an image that's wrong, or it's pixelated and people can't tell. Maybe people don't get a feeling that the product's high quality, so they just leave the page without purchasing it. If that's the case, then this can tell you if you have pages that are problems and that they need to be investigated. The third item is the average session duration. And so this also increases your website's SEO. Like I mentioned, the better the user experience, the longer they will stay on your site. And also, this is an indicator of how likely they are to return a second time, or to refer a friend or an acquaintance to go to your site to buy a product. So it's always good that they spend more time on your website. You can increase this by having engaging images and video content, by having really good textual descriptions of your products or services, or offering valuable information that people want to spend time and read, because this is something that they can't find elsewhere. So you can be a trusted source of information. And the fourth item is the bounce rate. So this is a negative metric. This is the percentage of people who leave your site after viewing only one page. This can happen when they're looking for a product that they thought you were selling, and that it turns out you're not, and they just leave right away. A bigger issue is maybe they're looking for a product you do sell, but they don't see that in the first 10 seconds or the first 3 seconds, and they leave. And that's a big problem, because you just lost that chance to get a conversion or get a purchase. So if the bounce rate is high, you might say that you need to use different words at the top of your home page, which is the most common place for people to view and then just leave if they feel like, oh, that's not the website I was looking for. I mean, we've all done it, and we understand exactly why people do it, is because there's 10 websites that all say they're doing the same thing, and we have a very little amount of time to identify which one is the one that we trust. So the bounce rate can tell you if you are doing well in that category or if you have problems. And it's also an indicator of the effectiveness of your content and the strategies you're using. Number 5 is the exit rate. So different than the bounce rate, but this shows you if a visitor is in your website and they go to a few different pages, which page do they leave on? Of course, if you're selling a product, you want this page to be the checkout confirmation page, because it means you made a successful sale. But oftentimes, you might find that people are looking at a product page or maybe a page about the company or about one of its services and just leaving without taking another step. And if that's a big problem, if a lot of people are doing that, then you might realize, oh, you need to have a button on that page, which is a very big visible button that says, check out now, purchase this product now. You might be missing a call to action. So this can help you identify those types of problems. And lastly, the conversion rate. So this is the all-important percentage of people who act on your conversion goal. So typically it's making a purchase, but it could also be something like subscribing to your newsletter if you're trying to get more newsletter subscribers. Or it could be a different call to action. This is really something that you formulate as part of your online business strategy. I would say for 80 or 90% of us, though, it's to sell that product or that service. But there's always other situations where you want a different call to action. So these are the analytic factors that tie everything together. And the more that I think the more time you spend on these and the more you talk about it with your co-founder, your other people who give you business advice, with counselors at the SBDC, it'll help you get a holistic view of how well your online marketing is working, and especially what to change, because online marketing is never a static endeavor. It's always evolving and adapting, and all of your competitors are trying to obviously outcompete each other. And so they're coming up with innovative ways to market. No matter which way you're trying to market, these are the analytic factors that are going to inform you if that's working well or not. So it's just really important to be aware of these and to tap into these from time to time to be learning from them. So at the end of the day, most people agree that digital marketing is a very effective way to increase your business sales online. It gives you these four main factors. It helps your customers, helps you understand their likes and preferences and their buying habits. It shows you what's working on your website and what's not working. And this can be your own website, like yourbusiness.com, or it could be if you're selling on Shopify or Etsy. It could be your pages there. They'll give you the same analytic data that I just talked about. And it can help you better target your customers with inbound and outbound marketing, like affiliate marketing and email campaigns. So there's a couple of tips I want to leave you with. One is to stay active. Like I just mentioned, it's always evolving. So it's important for you as a business owner to continue to learn about challenges. Where can you do that? Well, you can, of course, read things in the news. You can meet with business counselors and advisors who are familiar with digital marketing. And also, follow blogs or publications from thought leaders in the marketing industry or thought leaders in your industry, because from time to time, they'll talk about effective ways to market. So you need to be aware of those. So you might wonder, where should you start? Well, there's a lot of different ways to jump into online marketing. And I always advise people to start with their gut instinct and grow your digital marketing strategy from one seed of an idea. There's many forms of marketing that are just free, like social media posts, but these can take a lot of time to get started, like 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months. You might be surprised, how well received your initial marketing efforts and the posts are, or you might be very disappointed. And everything is a learning experience. In addition, take into account the data you collect. Learn how to read that, like reading a book, and it's really going to help you focus your efforts and adapt them over time. And if all else fails, myself, I'm happy to work with businesses on these topics, other counselors at the SBDC, other friends and acquaintances familiar with digital marketing. It's always good to be bouncing ideas off of as many people as possible, I think. So that concludes the presentation. Thank you all for your time. If you have any questions, then I'd be happy to answer them now. You can type them into the Q&A box. And if you would like to reach out to me directly, my email address is on the screen here. And everything in this presentation will be sent to you following the conclusion of the presentation. So feel free to reach out. And if you can't stick around, thanks for joining and have a great day.
Thank you, Cameron. I do have a few questions in the Q&A, and if anybody else has any more questions, you can put them in the Q&A box and we'll try to get to them this afternoon. So I have one. What about emojis in subject headlines? Do or don't? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, emojis are like the little animated characters that have become very popular. Yes, you can include them in the bodies of emails. Not all email services allow them to be displayed in the subject line. So my advice is not to try to put them in the subject line, because not all email providers will allow that to be read. But it probably doesn't hurt to put them in the body, but just be sparing with them. If your email looks like spam because it has 20 of the same emojis in a row, it's going to be blocked, So maybe use 1 or 2 throughout the email, but don't go overboard.
I have 2 here from the same person, and I think they might be related. But let's see. So what's a good CTR? And then she also asked, how do you get them to stay? I think it might have been in reference to something, but yeah, what's a good CTR? Do you know what that means?
We've used the term CTA, which is the call to action, a lot. So I'm not sure if
Maybe
that's what you
could
meant.
Could you clarify, Jean, in the chat on what you're asking, and also on your second question too? And I'll go to the next one. I often leave tabs open with websites that I found interesting, but that I'm not ready to buy from them. Does this skew the session duration metrics?
Yeah, so the browser window knows when you've been inactive, but they don't know that for a little bit of time. It's like 5 minutes. So yeah, the people looking at the analytics of that website that you have open in a browser are going to see that, oh, people have spent a lot of time reading this page, even though, maybe it's been open 24 hours and you haven't even looked at it. So yes, it does skew the metrics. But I think after about 5 minutes of not doing anything, not moving the mouse on the front of that website or clicking anywhere, then the browser just says this person is inactive. But yeah, it does skew things a bit.
All right. So if I have a link to purchase an item, but it links to my subdomain, which has only that product on the page, is that bad or good?
So a subdomain is the situation where your main website is like www.yourbusiness.com. A subdomain replaces the www with something else. You can do anything. You could have shoes.mydomain.com. That would be a subdomain. So the question is, if the ad link goes to the shoes.mydomain.com rather than the generic default www, does that hurt your, SEO, your search ranking? As far as I know, it does not. Those rules change from time to time. But the last that I researched that, it's fine, because everything after the shoes or the www part, the mydomain.com, is the same. So Google says, okay, shoes.mydomain.com is getting a lot of clicks. That's going to help increase the generic default www.mydomain.com search ranking. That's the latest that I've heard about that. But again, Google and Bing and Facebook, they do change their algorithms from time to time. So it's possible that's no longer the case.
All right, I got some clarification from Jean. What is a good click-through rate?
Oh yeah, click-through rate. Mm-hmm. So this is a great question. So if you have, let's just say you have a Facebook ad with some text and some pictures, that's going to appear in people's view of their kind of timeline. And the click-through rate is how many people saw that in their timeline. And Facebook doesn't know if they read it, but they do know, was it displayed? So they'll say, okay, it was displayed for 1,000 people. Out of that, 100 people clicked on the link in the ad. That would be a click-through rate of 10%, 100 out of 1,000. So that's what a click-through rate is, for those of you who don't know. A good click-through rate depends a lot on what is your industry and what you're selling. In general, I would say 2 or 3% is pretty good. A lot of marketers and businesses are happy if they get a 2 or 3% click-through rate. Many businesses starting out with ads might see 1% or much less. They might see 0.5% click-through rate. And in some industries, that might be totally acceptable. But I think in general, 2 to 3% is considered good.
Thank you. Okay. Would you mind repeating what the definition of bounce rate?
Yeah. So the bounce rate is, I'm trying to think of like a metaphor here, but just imagine that you went to a website and then you were so disinterested with it, you realized it wasn't what you were looking for, you bounced off like, a bouncy ball hitting the ground. What Google and the search engines like to see is that somebody sticks to that website and stays there a long time. So the bounce rate are those people who just bounce right off. And I think that's typically, the search engines can change their parameters on this, but it's usually when somebody spends about 5 seconds or less before leaving, they bounced off that page, right? Just like a bouncy ball hitting the ground. So that's what the bounce rate is.
Thanks. So this one, I'm not sure if we can give an exact answer, but you might have some guidance, Cameron. Do you know any companies who provide marketing services for a startup? I don't know if we can give you specific, but how would someone go about trying to find that?
It's a good question. Now, personally, I've worked with several startups and we've had to, try to find marketing companies who could do it. There are a couple that I've worked with in the past. A lot of it comes down to what your product is, what you're selling, how do you want to market it, and then finding a company that specializes in that. So that would probably be a great question for us to talk about on a one-on-one meeting, and I'd be happy to give you some referrals, but I probably need to know a bit more about your situation first.
Thank you, Cameron. I don't understand organic searches. Can you explain this further?
Right. So, way back at the beginning of the internet, there were no ads, if you can imagine that. You would go to Google 15 years ago or so, and you would type in something, and Google would display website results based on, again, the keyword fit, the fit of the search term and the fit of the words on the website. That's what an organic search result is. It's just what Google thinks the website that person wants to have. So the main two search results are organic, which is that, and then paid, which is the paid ads, also called the PPC or pay-per-click ads. So there's paid search results and organic search results. Organic search results are free. Paid search results always cost money.
Thank you. I also have a couple questions just to clear this up. A couple people are asking if we're going to send, we're going to send out the recordings and the slide decks after. It might be in the next day or so. We are one woman down in our office, so we will get those to you as soon as we can, but we will be sending them out to everyone who attended. I have another question. Let's see. I feel good enough about building a website myself. Is it worth my time to learn about and implement the SEO on my site, or should I outsource it?
That's a great question. It's always nice to have a professional expert to handle certain parts of your online business. And they know tricks and tips that you aren't going to learn in years and years. So if you have the budget, it's not a bad idea. However, if you're going to build your website on a platform like WordPress, which I teach a lot of people about, or Wix, then they do a basic level of SEO for you automatically. What that means is that these companies that have these platforms for building websites on are always reading about what Google and Facebook and Microsoft are doing to change their search algorithms, and they're making sure they're compatible with the latest trends. So you don't need to worry about the basic SEO if you're building on these platforms. SEO is something that you can get really fancy with and you can really fine tune. And for that, you probably need a professional, just because someone who's been doing it for a couple of years, they know so much more about, again, those tips and tricks than you're probably going to learn on your own. So if there's a budget for hiring a professional, that's always smart. But you might say, look, you're okay with a basic level of SEO, and then you'd rather spend that money on an ad or on some other kind of marketing. So again, I'm happy to have a one-on-one meeting with you about that, because it's kind of a unique topic that depends on more of your situation.
Great, thanks. I have another one that might also be better in a one-on-one topic, but I'll go ahead. How do you know where to start budget-wise? We're a very, very small business that launched in 2020. Google is a big driver of traffic to our website, so we want to do Google ads, but it is $100, is $100 a place to start, or should we be going much larger?
Yeah, so I like to give people straight answers, and I think that, and I get asked this a lot, what's a minimum budget? I've worked with a lot of companies doing Facebook and Google ads, and I think the minimum budget is about $200 a month to be effective on either one of those platforms. So let's just say you like Google, you want to build a Google ad, I would start with $200 a month. Google will estimate how many people will see your ad and also how many people will click on your ad for that budget when you set up the ad. So they're probably going to say, look, for $200 a month, we think 2,000 people are going to see your ad and maybe 300 click on it. They're gonna guesstimate that based on their analytic data. And if you type in $400 a month as your budget, you're going to see those numbers just automatically change. So it does scale up, proportionately. If you double from 100 to 200, you should get twice the number of views and clicks. 200 to 400, double that again. So the reason why I say those start at 200 is because part of the game here is to get analytic data. And if you have a $100 budget and you get 20 or 30 clicks on the ad to your website for the money, you won't really get a lot of analytic data to help you change that strategy in month number 2. So with $200, it's kind of the minimum amount to get enough analytics to help you start learning about the trends and tweak your strategy and optimize it.
Thank you. Sorry, I have the printer going in my office right now. So it's should I use my keywords for SEO in the language that most of my prospective clients will search, or would Google auto-translate it?
So if you're talking about like translating a language to English, like a foreign language to English, Google will not do that. So if the search term is, let's just say it's in Spanish, and your website's in English, Google is not going to translate that. You will need the Spanish words on your website if people are searching for your products in that language. So if your question was about language translation, Google will not do that for ads and search results.
All right, thank you. How would, well, this person's get a great presentation and well paced. How would you suggest that a company create brand awareness and engagement on a personal, i.e. our story and who we are basis with customers?
I'm not sure what IER stands for.
Oh, sorry. I'm saying for example, sorry.
Oh, okay. So the question is like, how do you build a customer awareness and dialogue with the customer, I think. So creating customer awareness is best done on social media. So if you create a Facebook page and you make a post, you can enable comments on the post. So I think that's already enabled by default. So if you make a post of some really cool idea or some product that's solving a problem, you might get feedback and that will help. And then you can reply to the feedback. You can even send people direct messages. You can actually have a really good dialogue and build your brand awareness on Facebook, same on Twitter, same on Instagram. So all three of those are excellent means of like creating a post. And if people are drawn to the post, if it's that product is solving a big problem, and they make these comments, you can reply publicly or privately to them. So those three platforms I think are the best way. And the nice thing is they're free to use. So it'll be a free part of your marketing strategy.
Great, thanks. You mentioned having a single call to action in your emails. What if you are sending a newsletter and want to have multiple links to different areas of your website? Does that hurt?
It gets tricky. Now, so studies have shown that the more call to actions you have can cause confusion of what that person should be doing as a next step, which can ultimately lead to just less interaction with you, less clicks on that link. So that's the bad thing. If you can write your newsletter in such a way that you can have multiple call to actions and not have it confusing to people, that's wonderful. And you can do that, but not everybody does that. And in a lot of cases, the execution is maybe done poorly and you have fewer interactions with that email. So I guess some of it comes down to what your product is, who your customer is, and also how good you are at writing that email content. So I wouldn't say you should never do it. I just think that there's some risks involved. And, it's a good way to test that out would be to send that email as a preview to editors, or people who are really familiar with marketing and just say, hey, is this clear or is it confusing? So get that feedback before you send it to your whole marketing email list. And you can send it to me and I'd be happy to give you feedback too.
Thank you. If you are targeting a certain demographic age, any advice on how to begin?
Yes, I didn't specifically mention it, but Facebook, Google, Twitter, they all give you the ability to target an age in your demographic criteria. So not just by geography, but also by age. And Google doesn't know 100% with 100% accuracy how old everybody is, but they do guess at that. So they'll say, give us an age range, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, and you can pick an age range that you want your ad to go to. So as far as implementing that, it's super easy. You just tell them when you create the ad. But as far as knowing what age group is buying your product the most, that might be the trickier part. You want to be really sure that you're targeting it to the correct age group. And for that, you might talk to customers, learn about them, or maybe you've already done that. You already know the ages, so then you're just ready to go.
Thank you. And as we answer the last question here, I just want to let everyone know I launched a poll to help us improve our sessions. If you wouldn't mind, if you have time, if you could fill out this poll here at 6 questions, we would really appreciate it. And then I have one more question. And does the SBDC offer marketing services?
Yeah, the SBDC offers marketing advisors like myself. We're able to advise on strategy. We're not able to make posts for you, execute that strategy just for a lack of time to help everybody. But, I meet with a lot of small businesses in Virginia to talk about their strategies, help them figure out the best platform to run an ad on, help them develop the ad, help them to look at the analytics. So those are the things that someone like me and the SBDC can generally help with. If you need someone to post every day, post the content, and you can't do it, then you'll need to look elsewhere. And again, once I know your business a bit more, I can certainly recommend some marketing firms that would be able to do that kind of thing for you.
All right, that is the questions for today. So that, we're just to wrap up. Like I mentioned before, you will receive, let me bring this over here. You'll receive an email with a link to the recording about an evaluation and the slides. If you would like to sign up for upcoming webinars or access recorded webinars, please visit virginiasbdc.org/training. I also put that in the chat. Be sure to check out our next webinars that I mentioned before. There's one coming up on the 23rd, how to generate leads using digital marketing tools. And then Cameron's going to be presenting on success through e-commerce bootcamp on the 28th. And again, I put a link to the chat in there, how to register for those webinars. You can also access our website on COVID Business Recovery Center, which we developed to help owners not only continue business operations, but to thrive and recover. These resources are designed to be used in collaboration with your local SBDC advisors. You can sign up for free and confidential session by emailing help@virginiasbdc.org or via our website. Thank you for attending today, and we hope to see you all at our next session.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.